Outlaw Sports is brought to you by Molson Canadian, made from Canada, and Rocky Mountain Barbecue, Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best.
Ian Busby of the Calgary Sun joins us, just fresh from his travels to Moncton, where the Stampeders got embarrassed by the Hamilton Ticats. And boy, the big question going around town is, what the hell's wrong with the Stampeders?
They don't have any mental toughness or resiliency right now. They make a mistake and suddenly it all comes crashing down. It's like a house of cards. And they got to figure out why, if you have a turnover, that suddenly it all goes shooting away like that. And a couple of turnovers, obviously. Henry Burris's first fumble was not good. Landon Talley losing the handle on a punt, that's a devastating one because your defense is off the field. But they got to find ways to keep going. The offense scored 36 points in this game, and they had a 14-7 lead in the second quarter, and before they had a couple of turnovers and let it all slip away.
Well, let's get right to the hard questions. As this team, I mean, early in this year, I said that locker room was a mess. Maybe they made adjustments with some of the players they let go. Maybe it's still not the best. Has this team quit playing for John Hufnagel?
I don't know if it's that, and the one funny thing that Hufnagel said in his post-game press conference was, we have guys who have to learn how to have success. They've made the team now. They had a good couple of months. They built up a first-place record, and then now that it's the hump right now. You got to push hard. You got to fight to the end, get better every week. They're not doing that. He said for the last month, he's just sensed this little bit of, yeah, we're going through the motions type of thing. We're good enough to win some games. Obviously, they did that in Edmonton, but they're not good enough to win every week, and they've got to figure that out. How do you make changes in that type of thing in the middle of a season? I don't know. They made a drastic roster change this week, and I thought it was the right move to make, and it turned out well. They had a couple hundred yards rushing, 110 yards on 2 plays, which always helps. And can you make another move with the personnel they have, or do you just have to change the mindset somehow? Maybe Saskatchewan coming in on a game where there'll be more people in the stands for this game than there will be of any other game this year. Maybe that'll help.
LaMarcus Coker in, having a good game. Tough to watch Joffrey Reynolds on the sidelines. I predicted before the season started that he wouldn't be here the whole year. That was just the way things are in the CFL.
Yeah.
Better a season early than a season too late, as they always say. Is the writing on the wall for Joffrey Reynolds?
Well, I think with this team, it's probably going to be tough for him to get back in the lineup. Depends on what happens when Larry Taylor comes back, and if he comes back to full health, will he be just the return specialist, and that means they've freed up 2 other spots? Does that make it so that you want to bring Joffrey back, so LaMarcus is an extra kick returner, extra running back? You can keep him on the roster. But with the ability that he showed to burst through the line of scrimmage and then go, bam, 75 yards to the house, Joffrey can't do that.
Yeah. And
even John Cornish has a hard time doing that. So when you want to add a playmaker like they've added to the roster, he'll make a difference. And you see what the Ticats did with Thigpen. They put him in a different position. Suddenly, bam, 3 touchdowns. One of them was on a huge return, obviously. But he was a huge part of their offense. He was the guy they threw the flea flicker to, by the way. That's the type of guy you want on your roster. And Coker's that guy for the Stamps. They got to find a way to keep him on the roster.
Greg Fassett playing cornerback. Didn't look very good. In fact, to me, I just think, is this guy good enough to be a corner in the CFL?
Well, the way they were working things around was Isaac was coming out on the corner. They were moving Fassett inside. They were mixing and matching, and a lot of it had to do with the package that the
Ticats ran.
Yeah, because they were throwing out, those 5 sets where their worst receiver was Marcus Thigpen. It was amazing what they did, and they moved him all over the place to the fact that it really screwed up the Stamps defense. They didn't know what they were supposed to do. Brandon Smith did a great job on Chris Williams. He got 1 catch. But obviously when you have that mix and match and a new guy comes on you're not used to, that's going to happen. Now, will Thigpen keep this going when teams see this film and adjust to him? We'll have to see. But he definitely is a playmaker. He scored 5 touchdowns 5 different ways last year. That was the first time in history anybody had done that. So he's obviously a dynamic playmaker.
Is there a quarterback controversy in this town now?
I don't think so.
I wouldn't hope.
No, and Drew Tate did well, and Drew Tate can move the ball.
That's
not an issue. I think the fact that it was not a hesitation to go to him to see if they could get something going late in that, or start of the fourth quarter. But Henry's got to quit making those mistakes. It's just he's reverting back to a few years ago before John Huffdingle got here, where he would just, why does he have to try and make a play after he's been wrapped up for a sack? Just go down. And if you feel the pressure, don't retreat 10 more yards and lose yards and take yourself out of field goal range. He did that once too.
Let me ask you this. Has that relationship regressed?
I would think so, but I think it's a matter of every relationship has ups and downs. They've got to get it back up. They've got to find where it came together a few years ago, 2008 being the season, and obviously last year they had a great year. They got to figure out and get it back going. Yeah, I just thought, at one type I just wrote, "Oh, Henry," and the pass too after the big missed field goal return. Yep. The pass he threw there was just ill-advised. It was not good. He was off kilter a little bit all game, throwing low balls, just a few feet wide on guys that were wide open. I thought the receivers were fine. They had a decent game, but Henry was just off on his
Bryant finally showed up.
Yeah, Robbie Bryant finally showed up.
Way.
But yeah, that was a great catch he made on the second touchdown. That's for sure. So.
Tired of going to redneck barbecues? Well, you better call Rocky Mountain Barbecue. Alberta barbecue cuisine at its best. Great tasting food, clean and efficient service. Check us out online or call Rocky Mountain Barbecue.